Hey everyone, my name is Natalia Eileen and I work with companies to help them build more diverse, more inclusive workplaces. Today I want to talk about how a Lizzo song can teach us all a little bit more about inclusion. Okay, so years ago, before Lizzo was Lizzo, and if you don't know who she is, where have you been? You need to get on that. I hope you listen to all of her songs tonight. What are you missing? You're missing it all. So Lizzo is amazing, and years ago, before everyone knew that she was amazing, I was listening to Lizzo, maybe just a couple years ago, but still a little ahead of the curve. In fact, Good as Hell, one of her songs, was one of my favorites, and I played it very often. So one day, I was filling out a survey for potential employers, and one of the questions they asked was, what song most describes you right now? And of course, I was like, oh, Good as Hell. I'm feeling great. You know, that song, it's really speaking to me nowadays. I'm gonna write this down in this survey. But as I was going to write it down, I had this momentary feeling of concern. Maybe I shouldn't write down this song. I thought, you know, maybe it's not what they want to hear. They don't know who Lizzo is. Good as Hell, maybe it's not professional, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever had that kind of experience where you decide to censor yourself or you decide to change something about yourself just because you think your professional environment can't handle it. I know if you're like me, and for a lot of people who are underrepresented in different workplaces, that's a common experience. So there's actually a name for this. It's called covering. So Kenji Yoshino, he's an NYU professor and researcher. He came up with the term covering in his book called Covering the Hidden Assault on Our Civil Rights. And through that book, and in a subsequent HBR article that features it, it's described as the act of downplaying or hiding certain aspects of yourself so as not to appear different. If you think about it, you've probably covered before. In fact, all of us cover. Whether we're underrepresented at work, whether we're people of color, or women, or men, or white, or black, or anything, we all find instances where it might be most convenient or where we might feel most comfortable covering some aspect of ourselves. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes there's a need for that. But I would argue that there are many instances where we're at work and we're spending way too much energy invested in covering, hiding, editing ourselves, censoring ourselves so as not to appear different, instead of redirecting that energy to a more productive, more engaging, and more fulfilling experience at work. Okay, so one thing I have to call out is the fact that even though I decided to change my answer to that question on that survey, and not talk about Lizzo, that experience was way more trivial than what a lot of other people are experiencing at work. A lot of people are finding that they have to, or they feel that they have to, cover a lot more. So, I have a few suggestions. Here are 3 things companies can do to make their workplace more inclusive and therefore minimize the amount of covering employees feel they need to do at work. The first thing they can do is make space for storytelling. I've seen this go beautifully, where people decide to share their stories in front of the rest of their employee community, and it becomes a huge outpouring of connection and investment in the company culture. Number 2, they can provide support for difficult conversations. What does that mean? It means creating an opportunity for employees to learn how to have difficult conversations, to get training in it, to receive resources related to it, to receive specific terms that they can use and pull out whenever they need to, so that they have a familiar language and a common language across the employee base when having difficult conversations. That can be an important way for employees to feel better supported, for employees to know that they are at a company that actually values having difficult conversations, or conversations of all ranges, and not just the ones that are most convenient or the ones that are all about work. The third thing they can do is invest money in employee communities or employee resource groups. When a company invests in employee resource groups, it really signals to employees that Their identity in whatever dimension the employee resource group serves matters. It also allows for those resources and that community that's being built to support an employee as they're trying to be more themselves every day at work. There's so many things that can be done to make employee resource groups successful, but that's a video for another day. I've spent the last 5 to 7 years working in diversity and inclusion, helping companies build more diverse workforces and more inclusive workplaces. I love it because I really believe that in order to make employee experiences better, we need to be thinking about diversity and inclusion, and it needs to be a top priority of every organization. I'm here to continue to learn in this space and to share what I'm learning with you. So please join me. Join me so that you can learn how to make your workplace more diverse and more inclusive. Join me so that we can together make sure that we make this a top priority for every organization. Now, if any of this speaks to you, or if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like below. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. There will be more of this coming at you. And I look forward to continuing the conversation as we make workplaces more diverse and more inclusive, and as we consider making sure that every employee's experience is good as hell, just like Lizzo would want. Thanks everyone. Bye.